Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Trinity.
And I'm Courtney, and we're Left-Right Collective. In today's topic, we're going to talk about relationship dynamics. So I chose this topic. Trinity asked me to pick the topic, and I chose this topic for two reasons. I think this topic everyone can relate to, because we've all been through some kind of situation, whether it's friends, family, peers. And then also a situation happened with me personally last week with my mom. And so it's just super relatable right now. And a quick background on, or like definition on relationship dynamics. I wrote down it's patterns of behaviors that happen between people in the ways they relate and interact and communicate with each other.
So in that respect, I also feel it's what I would call ancestral ties, and based off of the way that, people... And Courtney's situation is very specific, which she's going to be vulnerable enough to share and get into. Because a lot of people are living in a conditioned, limited belief system. And that's the only thing that they know. Unless you're doing any of but there are so many people that read self-help books that why are the relationships in my life working out the way that they work? They're not working out, and they read a book and they're like, okay, then they just don't know how to make the changes around them, because the change has to happen in yourself first.
You have to break that cycle. And I wrote down cycle.
But the change happens in yourself first. We can't ask the other person to change. We have to change first.
Right.
Okay.
But I think it's like a learned behavior, like what you were saying. And so people tend to just continue to live in that cycle.
The hamster wheel shit.
Yeah. So yes. So I'll go into, I guess, for me, what happened last week. I went back home to visit family. And it always causes so much anxiety for me, because me and my mom just were not that close. And it's just a lot of
painful stress,
annoying stress that I shouldn't have to deal with, but it is what it is. And I love my mom, so I just accept
it. It's a pain.
So we were sitting down talking, and she asked me, why would you post on Instagram, congratulations to my parents? So my stepdad, my mom's ex-husband, my stepdad, who was in my life, has been in my life since I was 4. He recently got married. Now, my mom did not like the comment or the caption that I had wrote, congratulations to my parents, because they got married.
Should we just do a little side note of just to give a little bit of background on your mom, for her to be this person that claims herself to be spiritual? And...
I'll get into it.
Okay, sorry, but my bad.
But okay, so anyway,
I'll just shut up over here. You tell me when to talk. Okay.
I'm gonna try to make this a short story, because it could be forever long. Anyway, so she didn't like what I wrote, and I'm sitting there listening to what she's telling me. How could you do that? Why would you say something like that? They're not your parents. And as I'm listening to her tell me this stuff, I'm like, Mom, he's been in my life since I can remember. I was 4 years old, and he's always been there for me and provided for me and my sister and for all of us. And just because you're no longer with him doesn't mean that I cut my relationship off with him. And his new wife has welcomed, me and my sister and my 2 half-brothers into her life as if we're her own kids, and has just been nothing but emotionally and physically, whatever, supportive to us, and has just been so what's the word that I want to use? Accepting, I don't know. So
all of the things.
Yeah. And
because that's what family is.
Right. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, as she's telling me all this stuff, Mom, don't you want to, and I ask her these things too, and I'm like, I mean, don't you want your kids to see you happy? And like, wouldn't you, I don't know. Anyway, so then like, my stepdad's new wife invited me there for Thanksgiving. When she did, she said, I would like your mom and her sister, my aunt, to come to Thanksgiving as well. And I thought that was like really nice of her. She doesn't have to do that, but she wants our whole family to be together.
Like a unit, yes.
For the kids,
and there's no ego. There's no ego involved. It's just all about love.
Exactly. And so I told my mom that, and she kind of was just like, why would I go there? So I can be uncomfortable. And I said, okay, I get that. You're not comfortable with going, and so you don't have to go. That's fine. But at that point, don't sit here and try to guilt me or make me feel bad.
Gaslight.
For posting something on Instagram or for spending Thanksgiving with them because they invited me. And
it's pure gaslighting.
Yeah. And so I know that, and you reminded me when I was texting you about it last weekend, that she's just coming from her own insecurities, and she's just jealous.
And yes, and like she can only meet you where, and because I talked to our therapist, we're a couple, we have a therapist. No, so we share the same psychotherapist, and I talked to her earlier today, and people can only meet you from where they're at, and it's so frustrating when you're doing so much work and you're wanting to evolve the relationship with this person that you care so deeply. I mean, I'm a big what's the word? Whatever. It's like, just because I gave birth to you out of my uterus doesn't make you mine or anything.
Right.
You're a person on this planet.
Right.
So for your mom to gaslight you into thinking that you need to be on team mom based off of that only alone, because who your mom is does not resonate or is in alignment with who you are. And so it's really, what's the word I want to use? It's frustrating. It's painful in a way that it's just like, why would you use your relationship with me based off of you being my mother to try to tell me how I should be doing the things that I'm doing? Yeah. And you are your own individual person. Right. No matter what, even with my kids, and she's got a 4-year-old, I've got 7, 8, 16. They're individual people. We're here to shape them, not tell them who to be. Right.
Yeah, it's funny because my mom is on her own journey, is what she likes to call it, and
we're gonna do it big.
And that's fine. However she wants to heal, and however long that takes, that is her whole thing, and that's fine. And so I accept her opinion and her thoughts, and I just kind of like moved on from it. Yes, it hurt me, but I also like kind of knew a place where she was coming from, and so like I don't know. I just know that it really comes from her own insecurities and her own issues that she has to, I guess,
break that cycle. But you're so brave. You're so brave, because you and I, we don't give a fuck. Well, it's corny, but it's still a relationship with your mom. So It's like, it's brave to just like make the choice to be like, you know what, I'm gonna like have a friction experience with my mother to do what I feel is right for me.
Yeah, I think that's always been my
journey. Yeah. Your journey.
On the black
Courtney's
sheep of the
journey.
family.
I just realized I was giving everybody a big vagina shot, so I was like, I just stood up.
Okay, so
you're welcome.
So, okay, another thing like I wrote down, aside from like what happened last weekend, and why I want to do this topic is just because I think, like I said, it relates to everyone in some way.
But you feel really passionate about this, I can tell. You know, like, and I know, like, you wrote all these notes, but, like, just really, like, just, you know, and I love this. I was like, we need to write these notes and stuff. And it's like, I'm sorry.
My brain would probably blank out. If
I know. Just to go off the cuff. Yeah. All right, continue.
So as she was telling me my mom was telling me her thoughts about the whole situation, and we're having a conversation about it, right? So I'm letting her speak, and then she's asking me questions, and I would try to respond, and then she would cut me off. So then at that point, I'm like, okay, we're not, this isn't communicating. This is just her gaslighting or whatever. And then I went down to the basement and I was just irritated because I'm like, why do you have to be this way? Why do you have to make things so much harder than they need to be? Anyway, so I wrote down here, learn to have a sense of understanding. You can communicate all day, but if you can't understand where someone else is coming from, then what's the point? So I think that's
So basically, I feel like what we're trying to present here is it's frustrating when we have these relationships in our lives that are, and no relationship is finite. It's all based off of like what speaks to you and your true authentic self. And it's hard for most to think like, you know what? I mean, some people just like can cut others off based off of like their own way of thinking and feeling, and they're not open to seeing any other side of the coin other than their own fucking specific way of believing and thinking. And so, you know, I would say that like maybe Courtney's mom could be one of those people that she could like shut Courtney out, but she chooses not to because she wants the relationship with her daughter, but she's frustrated in the relationship because she doesn't understand why Courtney doesn't fucking subscribe.
Exactly.
Instead of just accepting your behavior and not behavior, you bad girl. Just accepting who Courtney is and accepting Courtney as the person that she is. And yes, like, you know, we are parents, we're children, we're sisters, brothers, whatever. I mean, immaculate conception, who fucking knows? But we're all just fucking human beings living here and experiencing each other. And to take out the role of something, to give somebody the fucking feeling that they're entitled to be able to gaslight you because I'm your mother.
Yeah. And I told her that too in the conversation that we were having. I was like, you are so entitled. I mean, what she thinks that, I don't know. So my mom has been a stay-at-home mom. And this is not bashing any stay-at-home moms. Like, get it? It's a hard job.
I'd rather go to work.
Me.
We like to go to jobs.
Oh my God. It's just not for me, but so I give it up for the moms who can do it. But that's what my mom wanted. As a kid, she wanted to have the whole family dynamic, the whole 1950s thing where the husband takes care of the wife.
Let's make it sexier, like Mad Men, 60s.
And so that's kind of where my mom's like mentality is at, that old school, like.
So you've been so vulnerable sharing your story. Mm-hmm. So what do you want to talk about, like, really, like, with, like, what relationship dynamics are? Like, I mean, I think we touched on a lot, and, like, you know, like, I know you're frustrated in your own personal experience. So what do you want to share and help others understand in relationship dynamics? Like lay it out.
So I think when you're in situations like this, you really have to start. I wrote something about that. So if you're in a situation like this, focus more on what the person is saying. Don't interrupt. Listen more. Talk less. Wait until they ask you a question.
So you can preserve yourself and not be frustrated. Because, we're talking about relationship dynamics in a space where the person that you are interacting with isn't open to hearing you. They're conditioned and projecting.
Yep.
Okay. So we're helping people understand what to do in this experience.
Right.
Okay.
And then I wrote down, change the negative to a positive. So talk about things that you love about that person versus negative, bad things. So for an example, if you're seeking therapy or counseling, whatever, this is what I've learned, that I think that you should say good things about that person versus like, she's so annoying, all she does is this and that, like saying negative things. Well, what are the good things in that person?
So change the energy,
right?
Shift the energy. Yeah.
Focus on that. Bring it back to what they say the beginning stages are, why you fell in love with that person, why you became friends with that person, is from the things that you saw in the beginning. That's what you should focus on.
But what if you don't have a choice when it's like your mom?
Well, in that situation, and I do. I think about how grateful I am for my mom and the things that she has done for me. I had to like put my mind there and just say, you know what, this is just how our relationship is, and I can only try to work on it. So it might take her another 10 years just to get.
But so you're doing the healing, so then that way you are healed in this situation, and then you accept your mother. It's acceptance, right?
Yes. Yep.
And then hopefully lead by example, because we're not here again to proselytize. So, it's a really deep topic because people have a hard time being confrontational, and confrontation doesn't mean arguing. It doesn't mean lashing out. It doesn't mean the blame game, but it's being yourself in a relationship experience dynamic where it's a parent to child. It is what it is, as we are parents and we understand that we want to change and shift the way that we think parenting should be, and be in a way where we're just like open and accepting to the humans that we have in our experience. And I wouldn't even fucking call it a gift. Okay. So kept me from being basic. I'll tell you that right now. But anyway, so if you are struggling though in an abusive situation, that is not what we're talking about here. Like that is something that you need to go and find counseling and help in a different way. We're just talking about in the most general ways that most of what we experience of like how to deal with somebody that we are connected with. And I know Courtney and I are not the type of people that it's like you are acting a certain way and I'm going to cut you off. I'm not like that. She's not like that. I know a lot of people want to do that but we don't understand that type of situation. But if maybe you could take some words of wisdom from what, Courtney's sharing in her vulnerable story, and that you can like look and shift the perspective of like what it is that the person that you are experiencing. And I'll just even say with a fucking cat, like she's so fucking annoying, man. Like she wants to like fucking jump up on my crystals and like sift shit around. And I was like, I used to call her a rascal. And I'm like, no, she's a toddler. I gotta teach her. I have to teach her. So we're just like, we're always a student and we're also a teacher. So if you can just shift the dynamic in your mind first, because you can only change your experience and your own perspective by you first. And that is going to help you have more peace and less anxiety with each moment that when you're going to be in when you encounter them.
Situation,
whatever, when you fucking see them, okay? Sometimes I try to be so fucking literary, whatever.
It is true, because I wrote here on the backside, I said, if you stay in a negative cycle, your relationship suffers. Eventually, this can lead to emotional disconnect, which then can lead to depression and anxiety. And
Well, babe, that was really beautiful that you really wanted to share that. I think that whoever receives this message, and at the time, because time and space is linear and stuff, it's like, you know, a lot of people have a hard time like seeking counsel, sharing their story. They judge themselves. There's shame in themselves, and then shame in wanting to like not like your mom. You know, we're all taught these things that don't resonate and aren't in alignment with who we truly are. And I know that's what Courtney and I are so passionate about, to make these videos and share these stories and moments with you guys, because we get it. So you're not alone. Hopefully this helps.
yeah, I was thinking at home before I came over here. Like I want people to like write their stories in the comments, like, or not their stories, but if they would like to share a story, just so that, I don't know, maybe they're the only, like, it's the
Oh
only
yeah, let's connect.
person
Like,
that
let's connect.
talking to.
Like,
Yeah,
you're not
that'd be
you're not
cool.
alone. So in the comments, however vulnerable you'd like to be. See, I like vulnerable you'd like to be. You know, I mean, we can email you. We're not therapists. We just like to help. So let's have that boundary.
Yep. I think that's it. Anything else you want to say?
We did not plan on our outfits and being color coordinated, but look how intuitively connected we are. All right.